up.
Ah, that's cool. That's really, really cool.
Fresh fruits and vegetables that are organic and affordable.
How much are these? $2? They're $1.
This farm stand on Braddock Avenue in Braddock is run by Grow Pittsburgh. The organization has been a major force in fighting hunger in the region, especially in urban communities, by providing produce to neighbors that wouldn't have easy access to it otherwise. Mayor John Fetterman was instrumental in bringing Grow Pittsburgh to his community.
It's really just a great amenity that provides incredibly fresh, just picked produce for the community at probably one-fifth of the price that you'd encounter at a grocery store.
The Braddock Farm Stand is open every Saturday during the growing season, and the produce doesn't get more local. All of the fruits and vegetables sold here are grown just down the street on 1.5 acres of land called Braddock Farms. It is Pittsburgh's largest urban garden, and even in a steady rain, there was a steady stream of customers. Does this make it convenient for you to be able to pick up fresh produce?
Absolutely. This is better than standing in a grocery line. And also you're getting the benefits of homegrown vegetables.
So fresh, some customers couldn't wait to get home.
This produce must have been pretty fresh because I noticed you were chewing on some of those greens. Were you getting an early sample in or what?
I did. Fresh kale greens is one of the healthiest things you can eat. So I was excited to see them and know that they were just grown down the street and they were good.
And you can't beat the prices. One of Grow Pittsburgh's goals is to increase the amount of affordable, healthful food in Pittsburgh's communities. They cater their farm stands to primarily low to moderate income families, and people who are on food assistance programs can use their benefits here too.
You think it's a good idea for Braddock to have a farm and a produce stand where they can grow this stuff?
Absolutely, without a doubt, especially in these kind of communities, there's no grocery stores. And we need to encourage healthier lifestyles, and what a way to do it.
It's nice to have this type food for the children down here or Rankin, all the surrounding communities. And like you said, it is fresh.
And it's inexpensive.
In a new study from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, researchers found that in 2011, almost 6% of households had very low food security. That means some family members had to cut back on eating normally because they just couldn't afford the food. That figure is higher than in 2010. And researchers say very low food security is most common among women living alone, in African American households, and households with annual incomes well below the poverty line.
What do you think of this effort in this urban community in Braddock to provide this kind of food for people?
It's definitely needed, especially in urban areas. Seriously, it's a reality that needs to be expanded throughout the city of Pittsburgh, but I'm grateful that Braddock is doing their part, especially with Braddock Farms.
We took a stroll through Braddock Farms with garden manager Marshall Hart. And the first thing you couldn't help but notice is the organic garden's unlikely neighbor, the Edgar Thompson Steel Mill. Gardeners test the soil yearly to assure its safety.
I guess I'm just used to it at this point. This is where I've done most of my growing. Started out working at a rural farm, but now I get to listen to them making steel. We're making food. It's just another factory, right?
A food factory.
Food factory.
A food factory that grows between 36 to 40 different varieties of crops to keep the stand well stocked.
So you got all sorts of things in the greens family right here, right?
Yep, right here, collard greens. They're just waiting for the frost to come around. They'll get much sweeter. It's when people really like them.
Yeah, right after the first frost, they think they taste best, right?
Yep.
What are these?
That's a new variety of tomatoes called Indigo Rose.
Wow, look at those.
We have black cherry tomatoes, white cherry, sun gold. Those are Mojo.
This one looks like
grape
it's
tomatoes. All right.
Good. Very good. Right off the bat. So this looks a little different. I don't recognize it. What is it?
That's sage.
Oh, it is. Oh, that's fresh. That smells good. You got chickens.
Yeah, there's a couple chickens.
What are you doing with the chickens, man? Ooh, they look fat.
They're just my chickens. I keep them here.
But this is not just a garden. Braddock Farms has filled a void in a community that has struggled with empty storefronts and a median household income below $20,000.
I want to think that it's a huge difference economically. Certainly, it can help out with the grocery bills a little bit. Our focus more is to get this good produce out to people and make it become something that's very important to them. Kind of a healthy style of eating and access to it.
Access is key. It wasn't there before. So you are making a difference. What does this do for Braddock?
Well, it provides produce for the community. It provides summer job opportunities for our young people.
Grow Pittsburgh has a summer youth internship program where high school students get paid to work on the farms while learning all about the food growing process and the value of nutrition.
What's it like to work on the farm and see the customers come by here at the produce stand and buy the stuff that you guys are growing?
Whenever we're working on the farm, everybody will they'll beep and wave at us, telling we're doing a good job.
Regina Sakis is a youth intern at Braddock Farms. Her experience inspired her to grow her own garden at home. Regina says farming helped her in other ways too.
Working on the farm, it's really brought me out of my shell a little bit. Like whenever I first started here, I wouldn't be able to stand here and talk at all. I'd be way too shy.
Grow Pittsburgh also uses education as a key weapon against hunger, and they start young.
What do you guys think? Did these words make a pretty good description of our garden so far?
The organization partners with several local schools to run what it calls the Edible Schoolyard.
What do you think is growing underneath it?
A carrot.
This garden is at the Frick Environmental Charter School on South Braddock Avenue. Students get hands-on experience growing the food while learning about science and healthful eating.
Nitrogen to the soil to keep the other plants healthy. I never knew corn would be so soft.
All garden lessons are directly linked to classroom lessons and follow state standards.
What are you growing here?
Here we have tomatoes and basil and nasturtiums. Actually, every bed is aligned with the classroom activities. So everything that we're growing here is able to kind of fill into a classroom lesson, an edible schoolyard lesson.
Jake Seltman is Grow Pittsburgh's Director of Educational Programming.
How do the kids react to all this learning about food and healthful food?
You know, you'd be surprised. They love it. They love being outside, first of all. And we find that when they're involved in actually growing the food, that they're actually excited to eat it as well.
Third grade teacher Deidre Lynch agrees.
It's one thing to have a piece of food put on your plate and to say, just eat this, it's good for you. But when they see the food actually growing and they get to see the whole process, they're way more excited to try it.
Some of my classmates, they didn't really want to try ground cherries, but when they tried them, they really liked them. Some of them weren't really ripe, so they're like, oh, these aren't ripe.
And you'll be able to look at the plants, but you won't really be able to see underground.
Jim Wow, or Farmer Jim as the kids call him, is Grow Pittsburgh's garden educator. He teaches lessons in the garden classroom twice a week and says he can see a difference in how much the students learn in the outdoor learning environment.
Just in the 20 or 25 minutes that they were out on their own with the scavenger hunt today, you could just see light bulbs going off, and the amount of information they brought back when we gathered was profound, more than you could ever teach in that much time with the textbook.
And students are taking home some important lessons.
Some farmers now, they do a lot of different things to the animal that you wouldn't really need in your body, and that's not really good for you.
If I ate a lot of healthy stuff, I'd be really strong. But if I ate not healthy stuff, my teeth would rot, and I wouldn't be really strong at all.
Stronger is what local communities and classrooms are becoming because of organizations like Grow Pittsburgh. And you don't have to look far to find where Grow Pittsburgh gets its strength.
It means a lot to me personally to be able to follow my passion with growing and be able to make a positive difference with it at the same time.
I love my job. I could not have a better job. It brings me so much joy each day, not only to be out here in nature, but to watch these children learn. It's wonderful.